Hello, welcome to another episode of Deck Musings. So we're up to around this period in Magic. So Scourge into 8th edition. And for this episode, the deck's going to come from the World Championship of 2003. Now I did notice something on this article. It looks a little bit out of whack and I don't know why. So because the World Championship 2003 was actually in August, and in actual fact 8th edition had actually been released by then. So looking at the dates here, and yeah, it says July 28th in a separate article. So anyway, the upshot of this is what I've decided to do is I'm going to do an episode revolving around a deck from the tournament of 2003. So in terms of the newer cards that we'll see in there, it'll have Scourge and 8th edition together. And the video that you're seeing now would have gone out at the first full week of July 2023. So for that first week, I'm going to do the usual Monday deck musings, which is this video. Tuesday, an episode of Commander Fodder featuring Scourge as for a card from there, and then the Magic the Gathering Friday and Saturday videos. I'm going to feature a Scourge deck I have, and then I'll do the usual Commander flip through, the artwork flip through on Saturday, because I've already started Commander product, so I might as well go through the whole of the rest of the product in December. It fits quite nicely. So once I get past the week that this video is going out, my plan is then to do the usual special December videos. So I'll have the a new version or a new iteration of Land Ahoy, which I know a lot of people really enjoy. So we'll pick up where we stopped this time last year. So we've got the customary Land Ahoy Yuletide episode. That'll probably drop around about the 18th of December. And then what I'm planning on doing is the week of Christmas Day into the new year, I'm going to do something called, I think I'm going to call it something like another one of those repacks of Christmas, but this time it's just going to be 6 repacks of Christmas, and then on the 7th day I'll build a deck from the repacks. So I've managed to pick up some Dollar Armor repacks. They're quite elusive actually, it's funny. So yeah, I managed to get hold of a couple of weeks ago, so I've got those ready to go. So what will happen is, in the other slots, if you like, on Saturday I'll carry on with the usual flip through the Commander decks, the ones I'm revisiting, as usual for the artwork. And then for the Friday artwork video, what I'm going to do is in the new year I'm going to pick it up starting from 8th edition, and and then just go forward from that. The good thing is we'll be back to singles again, because I do have packs I've opened and tournament decks I've opened of 8th edition, so we can start rolling through some of the stuff from my binders from 8th edition onwards, and then just bring it up to date from wherever we started the original artwork videos, which I think was around at the time of Lorwyn Block, somewhere around there. So yeah, that'll be picked up in the new year, first full week of January 2024. So in the meantime, for Friday videos, artwork videos, like I said, I've got the week this video is going out, we've got Scourge, nice Scourge deck, and then that leaves really with just 2 slots to fill. So I'm going to do some more Dissension theme decks for that. And then for the couple of weeks where I've got a free Monday and a Tuesday. Then, like I said, I've got Land Hoy video work going out, and I'm going to revisit some sets. So I've got one in mind that I want to do a slightly different slice through, so it'll be a set musings type video for one of the Mondays, which currently is vacant, because I don't have anything planned for that. So yeah, I'll do a one of my favourite sets, and we'll slice through in a slightly different way, by rarity and colour. So I won't be like cycling through by slices or card types or stuff like that. So it's going to be an experience like you get when something I've spoken about before this term called as fan. So as you fan the boosters out, and because of the way commons, uncommons, mythics, and rare, regular rares are balanced, you get a feel for the set as you sort of open booster packs. So I wanted to sort of get that experience. I'm not going to look at the MTG Wiki article for the set I've got in mind, although I know the set reasonably well. I'm literally just going to go through by rarity, slicing it up in Scryfall and taking a look at that. So yeah, and I'll just decide how many of those I want to do. I'm probably going to do a couple of at least one deck building video. Maybe I'll do the same set, actually do like a sealed build, like a limited build from 6-pack virtual packs of that particular set as well, because I miss doing those. So we'll have a return to one of those, and then, like I said, I'll fill in with anything else I fancy doing. There'll be a number of possibly non-Magic the Gathering related videos, as there always are, but if I come with lots of MTG related ideas, then quite possibly I could do more Magic the Gathering videos than I normally do, but we'll just see. So I wanted to make it an interesting December, and then, like I say, in January we'll be back to picking it up. We'll go I'll be sticking with, so I'll pick a second deck from the 2003 World Championship, and we'll pick the rest of the themed stuff in terms of Commander fodder and the artwork videos, Friday artwork videos from 8th edition. So I'm really looking forward to upcoming content. So anyway, with that rather long introduction out of the way, just so you know what's going on in December, because long-term viewers of the channel know I normally put in some slightly different videos. Let's have a look. So here's the information for the 2003 World Championships in terms of the top 8. We're going to be looking at the winning deck, which was something called Wake. So you can see here we've got a number of decks in the top 8. There's quite a number of Wake decks with slightly different configurations. A few changes here and there. There's Blue-Green Madness, something called Goblin Bidding, and we have a Reanimator deck as well. So yeah, so when I come to revisit this particular event next year, start of 2024, I'll obviously need to pick one of these other decks. Can't do Astral Slide, I've already done Astral Slide, so it's either going to be probably Blue-Green Madness, Reanimator, or Goblin Bidding. There were some, obviously, at the time, World Championship decks. Anybody that knows a little bit about these knows that they ran from 97 to 2004. So this was the second to last year that they did them. Gold bordered cards. Yeah, they featured the winning deck, a semi-finalist deck, which was the blue-green Madness deck. And then we had couple of other decks. Oh, here we go. Goblin Bidding. It's a Goblin Horde deck. Maybe I need to feature a Goblin deck. And a Reanimator deck. That's very tempting as well. I was getting lots of interesting stuff. Although I think some of this stuff we have covered a little bit before. Yeah, well, we'll see. Maybe we'll go down a goblin rabbit hole in the new year. Okay, so white, blue, green, wake. So here we are in... Go away. Here we are in Architect. So let's lay this deck out. Where am I? Oh, come on. Why am I seeing this ad? That's being annoying. Can't get to the drop down. That's better. Okay. It doesn't want to go over to grid, does it? There we go. Right. Let's have a look. So what does it actually say back here about the deck? Powerful enchantment, Mirari's Wake is in play. The deck produces more mana, draws more cards, counters more spells, and makes more soldiers than opponents can possibly handle. So we have one artifact in the deck, which is Mirari. 5 to cast. Whenever you play an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay 3. If you do, put a copy of that spell onto the stack. You may choose new targets for the copy. We've got Compulsion, so there's 6 enchantments in the deck. 3 Compulsions, so 1 in a blue. 1 in a blue, discard a card from your hand, draw a card. 1 in a blue, sacrifice Compulsion, draw a card. So yeah, we've got card draw going on, or this case, there's, you know, like filtering for the first one where you're, you know, looking at your hand, discarding a card from your hand, and then you're drawing a card. So that went on, I think, to be termed, was it rummaging? It's more of a red thing where you discard the card first before you draw a card, as opposed to looting where you draw the card first and then you discard the card. But anyway, it basically allows you to get rid of stuff that maybe you don't want to use. The other thing is, we'll see here, you can see there was a strong graveyard matters around this time, so you can see the advantage with discarding certain cards into your graveyard. So we'll see in a moment whether there was anything that you actually wanted in your graveyard that you could would synergize nicely with this, so it actually wasn't a downside. We got 3 Mirari's Wake, 3 green, white. So yeah, both Mirari and Mirari's Wake, fairly high casting cost. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced. So you're pumping your creatures. You're also, I suppose you could say, pumping your mana. So yeah, you get an extra mana. So I won't be surprised to see that we're probably going to have quite a number of yeah, let's see what we've got in the non-creature section, because yeah, creature wise doesn't seem to be much going on here. So where are we? Just looking down here. Oh yeah, I can see what's going on. Jumped ahead a little bit. It's interesting though, isn't it, that you look at these decks, and the problem I often have with this sort of stuff is, as someone that sort of more moves to the side of, you know, creature combat, you're thinking, well, where, yeah, how is this going to win? And we'll see in a moment. Because yeah, clearly at the moment there doesn't seem to be any creatures being cast, but we've got a buff here on the creature, and we'll see how in a moment. So 16 instants here, 4 mana leaks, 1 and a blue, counter target spell unless its controller plays 3. 3 moments peace, 1 and a green, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn, flashback 2 and a green. So you can actually play this card from the graveyard for its flashback cost, then remove it from the game. So it's quite handy if you've happened to maybe decided to discard that. As an Vengeful Dreams, as an additional cost to play Vengeful Dreams, discard X cards from your hand. Move X target attacking creatures from the game. So far we've got a counter spell. So you'll notice that we've got some quite high casting cost spells. So with this deck, there's got to be ways of controlling things, and you can see here this is where that's coming from. So you've got counter spells, you've got a fog effect, you've got exile, the ability to exile creatures. You've got another counter spell here in the form of circular logic, so 2 and a blue, counter target spell unless its controller pays 1 for each card in your graveyard. So again, some synergies going on between this and this. Also has madness on it, so you can actually play this card for its madness cost anytime you discard it from your hand. Again, synergizes with this. So your madness would be great with this, of course, providing you have the mana to pull it off. Cunning Wish, 2 and a blue. Choose an instant card you own from outside the game. Okay, so another way you can get maybe stuff into play that's not actually in the deck, and in tournament play that's going to be stuff in the sideboard. So we'll see what we've got in the sideboard. When you do that and reveal the card put in your hand, you move Cunning Wish from the game. And we've got Renewed Faith, 2 and a white, you gain 6 life, 1 and a white to cycle it, and when you cycle it you may gain 2 life. So basically don't stop you from dying card, so it keeps you in the game a bit longer. So already you can start to see you've got packages here that are going to counter stuff, going to fog stuff, remove things, and also just push you out of the reach of getting down to 0, plus this, which allows you to pull stuff in from your sideboard. 27 land. So we've got 2 Elfhame Palaces. So of course here you can see we've got there's quite a number of non-basics here. There's a lot to pull from because you've got non-basics from 8th edition, from Onslaught, from Judgment, and then also from Odyssey. The artwork here you can see is from Onslaught block. So 8th edition comes into play tapped. Tap to add green or white to your mana pool. And we have this one, so pay 1 life, sacrifice Flooded Strand, search your library for a plains or island card and put it into play, then shuffle your library. 4 forests, 7 islands. We've got a Krosan Verge, comes into play tapped. Can tap to add 1 colourless mana to your mana pool. 2 tap, sacrifice it, search your library for a forest card and a plains card, and then put them into play tapped, then shuffle your library. 4 plains, and then 4 Skycloud Expanse. So this is this interesting filter land where you put in 1 mana of any colour and you get out 2 of white and blue. So there's quite an array of dual lands here. 3 different approaches, and then also you've got this, which is one of these interesting fetch lands, which also generates colourless mana, and also comes into play tapped. So, 10 sorceries. We have this one, which is Decree of Justice. So XX2 and 2 white, put X4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying into play. Has cycling 2 and a white. When you cycle Decree of Justice, you may pay X. If you do, put X1/1 white soldier creature tokens into play. So this is where your creatures come from. So if you choose to cycle that, you suddenly get, you know, these white weenies which then get buffed through Mirari's Wake. And of course, with all the instants and sorceries in here, with Mirari, we're getting to create new targets. For, you know, we're creating copies of instants and sorceries as well. Deep Analysis, 3 in the blue. Target player draws 2 cards, has flashback, 1 in the blue, pay 3 life. And you may play this card from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then remove it from the game. So you can flash it back, do the same spell again. And of course, if it's ended up in the graveyard through some other means, maybe you've discarded it, then you can still get to cast it. We have a Wrath of God from the core set. 2 and 2 white, destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated. So in the sideboard, obviously there's cards in here which are going to work nicely because we can get them using Cunning Wish. But also there's going to be cards in here where, you know, they might be sideboarded anyway with certain matchups, so they're already there. And again, we've seen this in another deck which used Cunning Wish. You'll notice that there's quite a number of one-offs as a consequence, because they can just be fetched out with the Cunning Wish. But you can see there's also multiples of certain cards as well. So 1 Krosan Reclamation, 1 in the green. Target player shuffles up to 2 target cards from his or her graveyard into his or her library. It's flashback, 1 in a green. Ray of Revelation, and notice the presence of these tombstone symbols again. We've seen this in previous weeks with this particular block. 1 and a white, Ray of Revelation, destroy target enchantment, flashback, single green. Vengeful Dreams, 2 white. There's an additional cost to play Vengeful Dreams. Discard X cards from your hand. Remove X target attacking creatures from the game. Anurid Brushhopper, 1 green white. It's a 3/4. Discard 2 cards from your hand. Remove Anurid Brushhopper from the game. Return it to play under its owner's control at the end of turn. Circular Logic. Counter target spell unless it's controlled by 1 for each card in your graveyard. It's got Madness, single blue. Renewed Faith. So you can see here we've also got additional copies of stuff. So that's in the main deck. We've got Wing Shards as well in here, which we haven't seen yet in the deck. So 1 and 2 white. Target player sacrifices an attacking creature. It's got Storm on it. When you play the spell, copy it for each spell played before it this turn. So you can probably guess how that pans out in this deck. Ray of Distortion, 3 and a white. Destroy target attack artifact or enchantment. Flashback, 4 and 2 white. Exalted Angel, 4 and 2 white with flying. Whenever Exalted Angel deals damage, you gain that much life. Morph, 2 and 2 white. So this is one way, you know, you pay it face down. It's a 2/2 creature for 3. You can turn it up any time for its morph cost, or you can cast it for its regular casting cost, play it like normal. And then we've got Hunting Pack, 5 and 2 green. Put a green beast creature token into play with Storm as well. So you can see now where, you know, the creatures are coming from. In addition to the there was something generated tokens here, the Decree of Justice. We've also got a number of cards that are either creatures or can generate creatures in our sideboard, which is either accessible through sideboarding in, or more importantly through Cunning Wish. So let's look at the cards in the deck individually and see if we can go down some interesting Scryfall rabbit holes. But firstly, and once again, let's just take a moment to appreciate the artwork from the main set of the block, which is Onslaught. I suppose I could have pulled up, well, actually no, because I'm technically, lining my stuff up this week with Scourge. It would be these cards because they're from that block, but when we get back onto this series in January of 2024, I will be looking at the artwork on 8th edition. There's our islands. And then we have these really quite interesting forests, actually. Quite a diversity of artwork styles here. I think I've explained before in a previous episode why this is my favourite. Very much reminds me of certain, the way certain trees are arranged or have been planted on Ashdown Forest. In these lines, clumps like this, where you get this lovely effect sometimes with the sun sort of coming through at key times of the day. Okay, so there's these filter lands. I think that's what they're called. Let me have a look. Yeah, filter lands. So it's saying similar to Azorius Signet. Okay, yep, I can see that. So but that was on an artifact. And we have looked at these before, but let's just give them a quick look. So here we go. Here's the full cycle. Just put that in for order. So you can see those are allied colours. Very interesting artwork. Yeah, they've turned up a few times, some of these in Commander. You can see. Looks like the price of them is hovering, what, around $2 to $3. But yeah, interesting way of fixing mana, isn't it? These sort of filtering effects. Right, Krosan Verge. So, let's have a look. Was this part of a cycle? I don't think it was. Maybe we'll look at the uncommon lands from this set just to check. So, ticks a number of boxes in terms of the type of card it is. So it's a fetch land. It's also a tap land. Additionally, here it's under the category of utility land. As well has the interesting thing that if you choose not to do the fetchy bit, it can, once it untaps, still generate for colourless mana. Due to land to battlefields, if we do that, we're probably going to see, if I was to come in here and then just say type, it looks like I've done this before actually, quite a number of times. Let's just look at the land. So you've got things like, put these in order. Yeah, so Thawing Glaciers, all of these ones from Mirage, Plane Shift, then these ones here from Onslaught. Close Quarter, and then of course the panoramas. The Zendikar stuff, and then through up to Shy Terrace. So there's our Krosan Verge from Judgment. So just set before Onslaught. Interesting. So what other, that then leads me to the question, what other, if I look at this Judgment, and then, oops. Yeah, so all the lands in Judgment were all uncommon, and yeah, they're all slightly different. Okay. There's Flooded Strand, Banded Pioneer. We just saw that a moment ago actually, because it's another tutor. So yeah, affects cycle of fetch lands. And again, something we've looked at before. And if you, as you can see, if you look at the first printings for these, you can see the sets where they came from. So there they are in Onslaught for the allied coloured ones, and then the enemy ones were in Zendikar. That's Zendikar. Hint, hint. Yeah, these ones come into play tapped. Yeah. You can see, just looking through here, there's quite a number of cards that, you know, it's better or worse than, for various reasons. Maybe, you know, it's a tap land where it's got additional stuff on it, or it's a tap land where there's a condition where it doesn't come into play tapped if the conditions are met. Or maybe it's a tap land and it generates more mana combinations. Or it's a tap land and because of its type, it synergizes with other things. So like the gates. So it's considered worse than a gate because there are some cards that care about gates. Or it's a tap land that turns into a creature. So, you know, a lot of these where this card is worse than them, so this card, Elfhame Palace, is worse than a Stirring Wildwood, is because they've got something extra. So in this case here, you know, access to a creature. Yeah, so again, there's one there with a condition on it, whereby it can come into play untapped. Arctic Flats. With this one, I'm assuming it's because it's a snowland, and again, there's certain synergies with snowlands. So. Similar to Cryptic Spires. Now that one you get to choose the two colours. Worse than Fortified Village. What was the Arctic Flats one? Oh yeah, so that was just a cycle of interesting. Arctic Flats is both similar to and worse than. Fortified Village and so on. There's a tricolour one, conditional one, tricolour, Guildgate, that's in there twice. And yeah, there was a cycle of these Now, and as you can see, we've been here before. Just to sort of show you. So it's turned up in Commander, but the other thing with these is there's been some, well, I suppose functional reprints. So there's that period in Magic where, if you remember, a lot of the toolkits started featuring a sort of full cycle of 10 come into play tap dual lands, and that happened over a series of set releases in terms of, you know, them being in the core set, and I think they were also in maybe one of the non-core sets as well, when core sets went away. So they were just always, I think the idea was that you always had access to some form of dual land, be it come into play tapped. So that's another set around that sort of sets you'll see around that time. So this whole load of, you know, enters the battlefield tapped business. So there's quite a number. Let's just do it. We're going to see all those other ones as well. Type land. Let's flip this. I'm going to do. Oops. Let's just. Release date. I mean, you can see, yeah, more recent sets have where stuff enters the battlefield tapped. There's quite a number of stuff that's not dual lands, but it has additional utility. But then it gets interesting as well, because you get stuff like this as well. So from Dominaria United, where it's actually got as well the land types here, which again, there's certain cards that can fetch those, whereas here you're not seeing that. So. But what I'm trying to do, so yeah, here's all the, again with these, like these cycling lands, you can see they come into play tapped, but they 3 lands and they cycle them, but also they specifically mention the land type. And we've got some indestructible lands, which are artifact lands, which would, so yeah, it's quite manifests itself quite a different way. Again, here, these ones here, like snow lands, which also had the land type on them and came into play tapped. Oh, these are flip lands, aren't they? Yeah. Forgot all about that stuff as well. Yeah, so you've got two-sided stuff, double face stuff with it. There's the triomes, that's the name I was trying to think of as well. So the 3 coloured ones. We had these ones as well, which were mono-coloured things with additional utility. And the ones with cycling, there's just so many different variations of tap lands. Here we go. This is finally I've got to where I wanted to be. So all of this stuff, like Foul Orchard. So the Shadows over Innistrad stuff. Is that, what's that? I wonder what that's classed as. So cycle dual tap land. There we go. So you got the cycle of invasion dual tap lands. Okay, I see. Yep. And then these are just called the dual tap lands, and those ones. If you look at when they first started to appear. Want to do that? Is it going to work better? Yeah. So we've got Oath of the Gatewatch, and then Shadows over Innistrad. If I look through these, oh, there's the M19. It's funny with these. Maybe I always get this wrong. For some reason, I think they appeared in a lot more core sets than they did. Maybe it was just in M19. And then they turned up in multiple toolkits because they were just releasing so many toolkits. So I've sort of misremembered it. So yeah. But yeah, okay. So yeah, I flipped what I said originally. So yeah, Oath of the Gatewatch, Ether Revolt, Amonkhet, and the Core Set 2019. They're all in those. So around the other way, I thought they were in a lot of core sets and then maybe one regular set, but no, it's more regular sets than core sets. But it was at a time when, if memory serves me correctly, they were releasing an awful lot of toolkits. Like instead of releasing a toolkit every year, wasn't it like 2 toolkits a year, something like that? And as a consequence, yeah, I ended up with a lot of these. Not that I'm complaining, because they did change the artwork a little bit on these. Okay, moving on. I probably spent longer on that than I really needed to. Wrath of God. Okay, Sweeper, Creature, Destroy. Also turns up later in Magic as a colour shifted version in the form of Damnation. It's better than Day of Judgment. Day of Judgment destroys all creatures. This destroys all creatures and they can't be regenerated. We've also got this interesting card, which is Megeta, or Mageta, I don't know how you say that. Megeta the Lion, 3 and 2 white, 2 white, destroy 2, discard 2 cards from your hand, destroy all creatures except for Megeta the Lion. Those creatures can't be regenerated. So that's where it's like stapled to there. And as we've seen, because we've covered these sort of sweeper creature destruction cards before, yeah, it turns up in a variety of different places in Magic. Some of it as well, interestingly, you have this sort of like a modal, number of modal cards where's it gone? See if we can get up to that period of Magic. Was it is there some other commands with it on? Because there was some, my favourite, Phyrexian Rebirth. Again, I could be misremembering this. Yeah, I honestly thought there was a modal spell. Oh, there we go, yeah. Yeah, Supreme Verdict. It's in 2 colours. But that wasn't that? A cycle of uncounterable spells. Okay. It was part of that cycle. And we got variations here like June Blast. there's a modal spell there. Blood on the Snow. Iridian Maelstrom. What multicoloured cards was it on? That's not, is that right? Trying this, so I'm just destroy all. Helps if I can actually play spell destroy. Boom. I'm just looking for stuff, not just destroy creatures, but anything with destroy all. That is not actually. Also, we don't want. That was the other one I was trying to think of as well. Is things like Child of Alara. And the ultimatums. They had some interesting modal stuff on them. No, hang on, they didn't. Oh dear me, I'm getting really confused now. Sorry about this. Okay. Let me just. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm back on. My mind is back on track. Yeah. So. Got it. I knew I'd get there eventually. So yeah, the 3 coloured ultimatums, and there was the original. I should have just looked on Shards of Alara. I did know it was in Shards. So you have the Shards of Alara stuff. Oh yeah, I remember these. I'm sure I was watching some final recently where I can't remember the name of the pro player, but didn't they lay out their colour in preparation? They didn't know what they draw a card, but they didn't look at it, and then they needed some card to win, and it was I think it was a multicoloured card like this, and they just laid their mana out. They didn't tap it, but they laid it out in order to try and force the hand a chance almost, even though they've drawn the card already. It was in front of them, and then they just had a look at the card, and it was actually what they wanted. So yeah, that made me think. And I'm just trying to remember if it was actually from this period, and it was some form of ultimatum. Oh yeah, they definitely bring a smile to my face. I just remember it from watching tournaments when this was still Shards of Alara was still illegal in standard. So that would have been standard. Yeah, it would have been still legal up to the end of the Zendikar block, because this was the block before Zendikar, and then was it M10 would have been between this for the core set. Yeah, so Shards of Alara block, M10, Zendikar block, and then as soon as we go into the block following Zendikar, which is what have been my memory. So I'm just looking over to see if I can see Scars of Mirrodin, wasn't it? I think. Yeah. I think Scars of Mirrodin came after Zendikar. I think I'm right. Yeah, so but then of course what happened was then we still had Extended. If anybody can remember the back that far. And so yeah, there were Extended was featured in tournaments, so there were cards from Shards of Alara still kicking around. I think Shards of Alara also was the first set where I read one of the novels, and that's because they actually had them at the library. So yeah. Oh. How much are these? Let's have a look. This would make a nice little artwork set, wouldn't it? Oh, I'm so glad I found these. It's funny that though, isn't it? When you get like a mental block where you know you're sure there was like a cycle and you just can't remember what set they were in. It's interesting how these have been reprinted here. What do we want? Oh, full, don't we? Yeah. Okay, Brilliant Ultimatum. $1.12. I'm really enjoying this episode. Anything with shards in it, or Zendikar, or yeah, or what was I going on about when I did that thing? Was it Tempest? No. Yeah. I was going around the wrong way. No, Mirage, sorry. Mirage. And then, yeah, that's way before I even started opening Magic stuff. But, yeah, that makes me smile. And Invasion block as well, I think. Ooh. So, Titanic is the most expensive ultimatum. That was in the dual deck. That was in the mystery booster. Oh. Yeah, I need to get back into collecting cycles. That's really the only thing I still buy. You know, like as you probably know, I stopped buying seal product. And I do buy the odd loads of singles, but I tend to go for, you know, certain, I suppose, multiplayer cards that make me smile in certain sets, but also cycles that just bring a smile to my face. And these are one. Yeah, that to me, that's really classic, like Shards of Alara era artwork, actually. I don't know why. This is making me think of Ethereum Sculptor. Yeah, I think that's the card I'm thinking of. Okay, moving on. Vengeful Dreams. Where are we going to go with this? Oh, Cycle of Dreams from Torment. A bit of discarding going on there. Additional cost, so what do we got? All of them apart from the black one are 2 mana. This one's 3 and a black. Additional cost, discard X cards. And obviously thematically makes sense in the block in that period in Magic. And then, you know, they do things that you would associate with that colour. So each player sacrifices X lands. Oh, it's a no hand, no land candidate. Although that's across the board. Are these like completely symmetrical? No, so that one is each player sacrifices X land and then does 6 damage. This one, search your library for X cards, then shuffle your library and put those cards. Okay, so that's asymmetric. So that's just you benefit. The green one, return. Okay. Blue one, bounce. So that one bounces everyone. In terms of what belongs to you, your permanents. And that one exiles the target, remove X target attacking creatures from the game. Interesting. So they didn't just go with, bounces everything, blows up everything, kills everything. Some that is the case, but others it's like certain more specific targets, I suppose. Yeah. Renewed faith. Life gain. Okay, so cycle of cyclers from Amonkhet, so that turned up again in Amonkhet. Okay. But it was also this part of this common cycle effect from there with Krosan Tusker. Moment's Peace. I did a meditation episode on Moment's Peace, the artwork for that. For all combat damage that will be dealt this turn, flashback 2 and a green. Cast from the graveyard. It's a fog effect. Better than Root Snare. Yeah. So flashback fog effect. Yeah, cast from the graveyard pretty wide. Yeah, symmetrical, so yeah. A lot of symmetrical cards in Magic's history. Mirari's Wake from Judgment. Yep, cropped up a few times. Commander 2017. Didn't it turn up in... Yeah, that was it. The Commander's Arsenal. I'm trying to remember if I have a copy of this. When I did a series, I think, called like Magic Nostalgia, where I went through, the period which I was buying product. I sort of stopped it eventually because I wasn't getting so nostalgic. But in order to talk about different things, there were holes in my collection. So I think for some of the special product, I did end up actually specifically buying copies of things, but I can't remember if that was the case here. Yeah. Oh, there it is in the World Championship deck. Okay, what do we see? Oh, yes, Anthem effects, of course. Creatures you control get is an Anthem effect. Mana increaser, power boost to all, and ramp. Power boost to all. Oh, yeah. I like those cards. So the thing about that is, of course, it stays in play. If I ask it to type, actually, let's do it around the other way. So we'll go. Hang on. We don't want to see. So I'm only interested in permanents that do it. Oh dear me. minus type sorcery. Okay, yeah, a lot of stuff. Oh, there's all these as well from Vanguard. There's Glorious Anthem. All creatures you control get +1/+1. Let's try it. Also, you get those sort of effects on creatures, not surprisingly. There's Mirari's Wake. Yep, did remember to do that. Oh, yeah. It's the Guild Mage, wasn't it? Oh, these. The other thing as well, I don't think it'll necessarily come up here, but there was a full like double cycle of stuff from around the time of Lorwyn, and the other one, which would be Eventide period. So Lorwyn, yeah, around this sort of same period. Which had these various buffing effects based on colour. And you got things like Marshall's Anthem, Kabira Vindicator, which was tied to the level up stuff. Oh, Hero of Bladehold. What's more recent things going on? Oh, got one on a land. Excellent. There we go, there's Mirari. An instant or sorcery spell you may pay 3 if you do put it on stack. Copy sorcery, copy instant. So yeah, there's quite a number of spells that'll do that. Both permanents and non-permanents. What's this cast trigger you thing? There's quite a number of that fall into that category for Kamigawa block. Yeah, loads. Well, there was a lot of that, whenever you play something theme going on. Look at them all. Plus this stuff around the time of Guild Pack as well. What was it when you sort of blue-red carrying about spells? And then you got things like the film. Oh, we've got to go down the film rabbit hole, haven't we? As that has come up. Whenever you cast a spell, you may put 2 1/1 counters on Witchmore Nephilim. Whenever Witchmore Nephilim attacks, it gains trample until end of turn. its power is 10 or greater. Also, see, Nephilim, I've got to mention a great band that I used to really like. I think they're still going, which is Fields of Nephilim. Yeah. So, yeah, the Guild Pack stuff. Is that the only one that was reprinted? So these, you know, when they came out and for a while were, what, the only 4-colour creatures in Magic? Yeah. How much are these? $129, 33, $129, 70. Oh yeah, nice little other cycle to go with my ultimatums. Trouble is, I've already bought my Christmas presents. Pretty nightmarish. So of course, you know what I'm going to in Skyfall ask myself a question next is 4-colour stuff. What's that all about? So, in Magic's history, after you had these, let me just grab that because it's, yeah, it's better. Then we got these. So this was, they then did 4 colours, if you remember, with Commander 2016. It's funny how we've gone from, what was it? How do we even get here? What was my route through this? Oh yeah. So I'm just retracing my steps now. How we've managed to get from here to here. Cast trigger. That's funny. Was that from? So from Mirari, we've ended up with the Nephilim. It's amusing. And you can see, yeah, these were all whenever spells. And then we had these 4-colour ones, which were for one way that they did the Commander stuff in 2016. The other way was through, what was it, Partner? And then we had the Omnath one. And then since then we've got Atraxa, Aragorn, the Uniter. Deep Analysis. Cast from the Graveyard. It is, yeah, again, I think we've looked at these cycles before, actually, I'm pretty sure. So there was a whole cycle of like flashback cards and, you know, cycles that were based on certain mechanics, abilities around the time, and the cycle was really just, okay, they're at this rarity and they all do this thing, or they all have this this ability, but beyond that it was difficult to see like what the commonality was. So yeah, there were sort of variations on that. So Deep Analysis has similar to Comparative Analysis and similar to Inspiration. And of course, life payment. If we were to look that up, there's quite a number of cards which have life payment in there as an additional cost or just a cost in and of itself. Decree of Justice. I was in Commander 2014, so early Commander product was in the dual deck for Elspeth versus Kiora. If you remember, the dual decks used to alternate, didn't they, between more of a sort of creature type versus creature type thing, or other theme. I think it was, well, basically it was theme alternating with planeswalkers, something along those lines, from what I remember. Yeah, that's probably closer actually. Yeah, theme, certain theme, because there was one, wasn't it, which was Phyrexia versus the Coalition, and then it would alternate between that and I think like a planeswalker at some point. I think that did change over time. I think they tweaked it slightly, but from what I remember, yeah, I keep meaning to do a chronological series through these actually. It's a long time since I've picked up a dual deck. Oh, a Cycle of Decrees. Right. Now we're talking. Okay. That has... yeah, Corona. I thought I recognised that card. So that's got Corona on it. Decree of Justice, Decree of Silence, Decree of Pain, Decree of Annihilation, and Decree of Savagery. So yeah, high casting cost spells with some dramatic effects. That one does tokens, and you'll see as well that there's an option. They all have cycle on them as well. So you've got tokens with slightly different tokens based on if it's, you know, you're cycling it. In Degree of Silence, you've got counterspell with depletion counters, and then slightly different variation when you cycle it to do with countering. Decree of Pain, destroy all creatures, can't be regenerated, draw a card for each creature destroyed this way. Wow. If you cycle it, you just get this effect where it's -2/-2 on all creatures. Decree of Annihilation, remove all artifacts, creatures, lands, graveyards and hands from the game. It's 8 and 2 red. The cycling one destroys all lands, and then Degree of Savagery, 7 and 2 green, 4+1/+1 counters on each creature you control. The cycling version, just 4+1/+1 counters on a target creature. Cunning Wish, yeah, seen this one before. It was a cycle of wishes from Judgment. And so you got sorceries, instants. So sorcery outside the game, instants from outside the game. A card you own from outside the game, but you lost half your life rounded up. Artifacts or enchantments with the white one. And then Living Wish, creature or land. And you can see in every instance you have to remove the card from the game. So cuts down on the shenanigans a little bit. This is interesting. I wonder how this is tagged up. So it was a cycle of disorder enchantments. Oh look, all two abilities there. All of them never reprinted. So we got discard and then draw, or sacrifice and then draw. Discard and then prevent damage, or sacrifice to prevent damage. Discard to remove a target card in the graveyard from the game, or sack it to do that. And this one, +2/+2 with a repeatable discard with a 1-off, +2/+2. Without the discard. Sack it instead. And then this one, discard, 1 damage, sacrifice it. So yeah, I mean the commonality here is that both of the activation costs within the particular card are the same cost, but if you discard a card, you effectively can repeat it because you're not blowing up the enchantment. But if you want to sacrifice the enchantment and don't want to discard the card instead, then you get like a one hit. Circular logic. Counterspell with set mechanics. So we've spoken a lot about that in multiple episodes of set musings, where you see a counterspell or any particular common spell in a colour where it's stapled together with a set mechanic, and this is obviously one for a counterspell in blue for the particular set mechanic, which was Madness. So it's graveyard related. Yeah, another common related Madness cards here. So it's a trample one. So I'll start again. So we've got a creature card with trample. We've got a counterspell. We've got an enchantment which pumps and has protection for black. Another enchantment which pumps, has protection for white, and then an instant red one. 4 damage divided amongst any targets you choose. So yeah, all with Madness. So there, you can choose to play it at the point if it's discarded. You get an option to play it for its Madness cost, if of course you have the mana. Soft counterspell. Well, we've come across this term before. Any time it gives the other player a chance to buy off the counter, such as with, say, mana payment. That has that on there. Similar to Countervailing Winds. That one's a cycler. And better than Rakasha's Disdain. So it doesn't, Karka's Disdain is a card, but without the madness. Without the madness. Yeah, so you can see now we're into sideboard territory. So these, cards both could have been sideboarded in for certain matchups, but also would have been fetchable with the Wish spell. So certain. When I did that, did I? Oh, I made a mistake, didn't I? You can't. Yeah, I didn't read that properly. So of course you can't. That wouldn't apply to any creatures in there. But then there were cards, weren't there, that were generating tokens actually. Instant card from outside the game. Let me look at that sideboard again. What do we got? Instant. Yeah, so let's slightly correct myself there. So of course with that card, the cards it wouldn't apply for, which you would have to sideboard in, would be the Anurid Brushhopper and the Exalted Angel. Yeah. Apologise for that. Wing Shards. Target player sacrifices an attacking creature which has Storm. Hate attacker and remove all sacrifice creature. 313 taggings. 216. So yeah, this is an interesting thing to think about. So removing creatures by getting an opponent to sacrifice. Looks like here they're including, because it's being done through indirectly through upkeep costs. Yeah, interesting actually. So quite a number of these it's done through that. Okay. Oh, these, yeah, double masters. Picture of Malik here. Pox. That's better. It's more in a, something was. I thought something was amiss. I think this episode's rapidly going downhill, actually. Abyssal Gore Stalker. Indoraptor, the perfect hybrid. Midnight Crusader Shuttle. Wow. Yep, there's a modal card. Rise of the Witch King. Okay, where are we? Ray of Revelation. Destroy target enchantment with flashback. And that was ended up as part of what do you call it? Dark Ascension. Yeah, Dark Ascension. That was in. So not a cycle in this set, but a cycle in Dark Ascension when it was reprinted. Yeah, first time. Flashback in green as well. I mean, we've looked at quite a number of cards, haven't we, in these episodes, which remove the enchantment. And there's lots of cards which are considered to be an off-colour ability. Although, yeah, over time, I mean, Enchantment Destruction appeared both in green and white, so I wouldn't say it's that off-colour. Ray of Distortion, destroy target, funnily enough, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So you get both with this one. Disenchant, Naturalise, remove enchantment, destruction, removal. It can castable from the graveyard. Yeah, you won't be doing much with that sword, buddy. Krosan Reclamation. Target player shuffles up to 2 target cards from his or her graveyard into his or her library. Only appeared in Judgment. Restock effect. Memories Journey. Oh, in blue, okay. With flashback in green. Turn the earth. Worse than. So what do we get restock appearing in then? In terms of a sort of timeline and maybe different colours. Okay. So quite far back. We've got restock effects. Time of Antiquities. White, black, blue, green. Do we ever see it in... Let's have a look. So we'll go through the colours here. Okay. 26 including multicoloured. Oh, Progenitus, of course. So that's going to feature in every single search I do here. But yeah, I like Progenitus, no problem with that. Okay, 14, let's keep a mental note. So 26, 49 in blue, quite up to date there. Black. We have 33, starting with Bone Harvest from Mirage. So got an Eventide, Restock. Oh, there's Moss Pit Skeleton. Red. So yeah, not so much in red. You know, it looks like there it's cycling itself back in. So of course that would also apply to anything that just restocks itself. 52 in green. Starting off with Barishi. Several around this sort of period, and then pick it up again in 5th Dawn. So this would have been Legions. So that was the second set of the original Mirrodin, which is, I think, the next block after the core set after 8th edition. So yeah. As Nissa's chosen. So yeah, you can see a number here are sort of just, you know, restocking themselves, I suppose. hunting pack. Good old green token generator. No, I mean, yeah, there's loads of green cards. So, colour green, type instant. So instant speed token generation. Elephant ambush. So 57 cards with green in them that have the ability to do that. It's got some modal stuff here as well. With charms. If we just look at the monocolour stuff and just go through sort of monocolour token generations in the different colours of magic. So there's various ways which that can be done in combination with other spells. And sometimes it might be you're putting a token into play as a result of doing something else as well. So yeah. Red and then green. And in terms of working backwards at sorcery speed, probably going to see slightly more maybe. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, definitely a lot more generally sorcery speed token generators than there are instant speed. Exalted Angel. Whenever it deals damage, you gain that much life. It's got old lifelink on it, it's got evasion. And if I was to come into here maybe, yeah, so that actually, if I went through old lifelink, that would be the same, wouldn't it? I mean, old lifelink, we got 29 if you're just looking for stuff which specifically has the word lifelink, then yeah. That came in was that around the time of Loxodon and Warhammer? Yeah, the other cards I was thinking of, I was saying about stuff that these cycle of cards that sort of do some sort of buffing. There were these enchantments from here, but then there were also the lieges as well that did that, just as an aside here. Oh, there's ultimatums again, an ultimatum. Baneslayer Angel. Yeah, oh god, they are all of these. Oh, Basilisk Collar, yeah, I remember that from that period. Sarah Ascendant, wow. Chancellor of the Dross, Batter Skull. Yeah, quite a number of these I do remember seeing them when I watched, like tournaments on YouTube. When they used to broadcast them live as well. All the usual suspects here. I just remember them being mentioned in tournament decks. Yeah, lifelink, can get seriously out of control. Index. And then this thing, Anurid Brushhopper, which is in the sideboard. And as I may have incorrectly stated, and I correct again here, of course this cannot be fetched by the Wish card. So yeah, this would have to be actually sideboarded in. Flicker self. Okay. Interesting. So discard 2 cards from your hand, remove it from the game, and then return it to play under its owner's hand, owner's control, under its owner's hand, under its owner's control at the end of turn. And quite a number of flicker things which we have looked at before. Shifty Doppelganger was before that. Oh yeah, this thing, Etherling. And of course Deadeye Navigator, It's all coming back to me. So you can have fun and games with those often. Or just, flicker everything. There's certain cards that do that, and then either flicker your opponent and then swing in so they don't have any blockers, or flicker a lot of ETB stuff that you have, and it's a fun thing to play around with. So there we have it. Apologise for the mistakes early on when I was talking about this. Cunning Wish, of course, it can only get instants from outside the game, so only instants from the sideboard, and so therefore wouldn't be able to fetch out either this card or this card, but everything else. So these would have to be sideboarded in. Thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you